Evil Hooded One. We're going to show you how to sign up for Yahoo Fantasy Football League and how to start a draft. By default, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to figure out how to create your Yahoo ID. So you can go to yahoo.com, sign up, get your account created. Then when you're ready for that, go to football.fantasysports.yahoo.com right up here on the top. That will take you straight into the football leagues. You should be seeing a screen similar to this right in the middle. I have one league already created that's a keeper league. So we're going to go ahead and create another team. This would be it right here. We can do that, or we can just take and join a league and start drafting now. That's the focus of this draft is we're going to join a team, join a league, random league. As soon as this gets filled up, we'll start drafting. In the meantime, we're going to talk about how to actually take a draft, strategy, stuff like that. And when it's all said and done, hopefully you have a team that's capable of competing for the year. If you don't have a plan and a strategy together, you're just going to be playing for the fun of it, and you're not going to be competitive. So with that, we are going to look at ninth team. Looks like that's where I'm going to be drafting. So in a 10-man league, I'm drafting ninth. I suspect the way this league's going to go this year is a couple running backs, first picks, 1, 2, 3, 4-ish. Then you're going to see a run of those receivers. You're going to see Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp. You're going to see those guys in the first round. And then towards the end of it, you're going to be looking at the next set of tier running backs, maybe the Saquon Barkley's, possibly a quarterback in Allen. But based on the rankings from Yahoo, you can definitely see that Jonathan Taylor is expected to go number one. We're going to sort this by the rankings. So quarterback rankings right here. We are going to sort running backs and rank them. So from a perspective, running back 1, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, and so on. I should be possibly looking at Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook towards the end of the first round. If we resort back up here by wide receivers, you're going to see the big three, and it's really Diggs will fit into that category as well because Buffalo's going to throw the ball, and he's a primary target guy there. So you could possibly see these guys go right up to me or before the 9th pick. Resort by all players, see what it looks like this year, regardless of ranking. So obviously quarterbacks are going to rank the highest because they go by number of points they score. That's how they do that. But if you go by the ADP ranking, you can kind of see where their average going. Taylor's consensus first pick, first round. So that's the choices. We got 5.5 minutes left here. So 9th pick. So we'll get 9 and 12 coming back. That'll get us 12 players. Tend to sort these around to kind of see where I'm looking at. So if there is 2 running backs that are solid available and the top 3 receivers go, I will probably do the usual 2 running back scenario. However, if Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp or Jamar Chase are available, I'll definitely take one of those receivers, then take the best running back available on the way back down with 12th pick. I'm a big fan of avoiding going quarterback too early. When you start sorting by quarterbacks and looking at rank, the stats aren't all that big difference of points last year. There's no difference between Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. Just preference of who you like. For 20 points more, that's less than, about a point a game. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, they're all within a point or two per game average. So there's no clear cut like there is other positions. So taking that into a receiver's perspective, you got 255 here. We'll round them up to 267. You got a big jump there with expected to continue the pace that Chase, Cup, and Jefferson have been on and even exceed some of those numbers. Then you can start looking at, okay, there's nobody left in Dallas, so CeeDee Lamb's probably going to see a lot of targets. Well, Carr's not the same as Aaron Rodgers, so those numbers are going to be real tough to get back to that numbers. There's going to be a lot of targets going that way to compensate for that. But you're really looking at Jerry Jeudy's numbers. He's got a quarterback now, Russell Wilson. So definitely Jeudy's numbers is one of the guys that you would look at to move up in your draft from a receiver's perspective. Tight ends, we have the same scenario every year. There's a few people that kill it, and then there's a big gap right in the middle of people that are all about the same. So if you don't get one of the early three, save a tight end for a fifth, sixth round.
Sure, I understand. I might have agreed with
we are looking at the strategy that you get every year recently within the last couple of years of what to do on picks 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm Vikings fan, so obviously I'll be rooting for Justin Jefferson to fall to pick 9. And I would like to see Joe Mixon run around to 12. So if I can get Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson and follow that back up with Joe Mixon, then that would be a heck of a start for the first 2 picks. 2 minutes left before we start. So let's get some players here that we want to put on our board. So I'm going to sort by running backs. Barkley could be there, so we'll hit these little stars over here, and this will put them in the queue. I suspect McCaffrey will be gone. I suspect, obviously, Taylor will never make it. We'll put Eckler just in case. You never know. Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, obviously a Vikings fan. So if we have to go Jamar Chase, we're not going Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon. We would go the opposite. We get a Dalvin Cook, so we can flip-flop those two. If the receiver comes from Minnesota, the running back we would take from Cincinnati, vice versa. So Mixon and Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Jamar Chase. Pending suspension, Alvin Kamara. If he doesn't get suspended, I suspect he's going to have a heck of a season because he'll get suspended towards the end or later on. There's a lot of people that believe in DeAndre Swift. Had a pretty solid year last year, and they got only better. So their team Lions are going to be a little bit better than they are. So we'll get the running backs that we prefer. Let's go over here and switch to receivers. Obviously, Cup, Jefferson, Chase, Diggs, Debo. I'm not a big fan of A.J. Brown, but I don't think I would pick him anyway. Just not a fan of that team and numbers, so that's just a personal preference. But, I'm a big believer of everybody going after T. Higgins being a top 10, 12 receiver. He was great last year with Jamar Chase. So as Chase gets better and continues to get the targets, T. Higgins is going to see one-on-one coverage. All right, so here we go. Let's look at the picks. See who gets drafted. So I'm assuming it's Jonathan Taylor, but you never know. These are random kids, random adults, haven't played 12th team already, so who knows how they pick. But if this is your first team, it's better off typically going after the safe pick, which is a running back for the first few or 5 picks in the round. Then after that, when the top tiered running backs are gone, the focus has been recently in the past couple of years switched to the top 2 or 3 receivers. That's definitely a valid strategy. And Kelsey's always a choice at tight end. He's going to see more targets, but he's also going to see more double teams now that the cheetah's gone. So we're looking at pick number 4. We saw Jonathan Taylor go. Definitely Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey. That's pretty much keeping with strategy. Kind of could see Saquon Barkley looks healthy. Henry, definitely not a bad choice. Definitely don't like to see Allen up there that soon, though. He's just not that big of stats that is going to make up for, Justin Jefferson 4. So there goes one of those theories out the window. So you got the 4th guy. He'll be chasing a running back guaranteed coming back, or he'll be an uphill battle the entire round. But one of the top 2 running receivers off the board, we could definitely see Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp. Really, that's more of a preference on people, what team they like, or what if you like Kupp over Chase. You can flip a coin there. Upside, Chase could just really absolutely kill it. I can't imagine Kupp even repeating what he did last year. So that was a pretty remarkable year, but it's very possible. He's a quality guy. So we're looking at the 5th pick here in the first round. Derrick Henry, that's kind of keeping up with pace. A lot of people are going to avoid Saquon Barkley just because of past injury. I am looking at 4 picks away, Dalvin Cook. So I could get one of my receivers and in Kupp or Chase. Otherwise, I'm more leaning towards Joe Mixon. So those are kind of my strategies right here at this point. Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, or Mixon. I'm going to bypass on Barkley just because he doesn't play for a better team. Typically, the better teams put slightly better stats up. It's easier to block one guy. So Cooper Kupp's gone, so we got Jamar Chase. Well, that kind of made it real easy for me. I will go Joe Mixon. So make sure we got Joe Mixon highlighted here. He's also highlighted in my queue up here, and then there's the draft button up here. So we'll go Joe Mixon on my pick. So we got 2 picks available, and there was Najee Harris. He's already gone. And coming back, one more pick. Devontae Adams. Okay, so Najee Harris, Devontae Adams for the 10th player. So more than likely, looking at that availability, again, my team is on bye week 10 for my first player. So thinking about going Barkley, getting 2 running backs out of the way. So highlighting Barkley, bye week 9, projected 289 points. I'll go with that. Okay, now I've got my 2 running backs out of the way. I've got to definitely start looking at receivers now coming back. Stephon Diggs, okay, receiver off the board again. Diggs still on the board, so we got 30 seconds left. next opportunity coming up. Kelsey, all right, tight end. Kind of saw that coming. This is basically telling you the positions you're taking. Obviously, I got a clear-cut advantage at running back, but I'm going to be trailing heavy on receiver. This guy's got 2 solid receivers. So when you keep in mind, your players, you want to balance it out. You just don't want to go get this third running back now because then you'll get crushed on receivers. When you start seeing the quarterback, if you don't want a quarterback at that time, you can go ahead and get you a quarterback when just because everybody else doesn't mean you got to go get one. Once they're gone, they're only going to pick one. So you can take your time. Sit back and watch some of the other numbers. All right, so we're getting 10 picks away. Contemplating which receiver we're looking at. It's definitely the choice. Receiver is going to be what we're looking at. I wish they'd just cut these early rounds down. Everybody knows who they're practically picking. You don't need to wait an hour practically, Cut them down, draft a little faster. Most of the people have been doing it for years, but for the most part, this gives you an idea of the draft grid, who's doing what. All right, 3 more picks, then I'm up. Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette going off the board. Williams going to have a big year with Russell protecting him with that arm and his feet still. Yeah, this guy's primed to have one heck of a season. All right, 2 picks. Cheetah off the board. All right. We might do something a little crazy. We might just go like a Josh Allen and then come back and get T. Higgins or Sutton. Although Sutton would be putting me 2 guys on bye week out of the first couple of picks. Higgins week 10, he puts me at, well, obviously 2 guys Cincinnati. So we'll See how the board shakes out. You'd be surprised how many people have to put a lot of effort and thought into this. It's easier than you think. All right, Mahomes gone, so it's got one quarterback. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Jared Allen now. Come back with receiver. Pittman, I thought about him. Thought about Pittman. It's definitely not a bad choice there. So between the two, I'm going to like Sutton, especially with Patrick out for the season. I'm liking Sutton. If I don't get Sutton, if this guy somehow takes him, going T. Higgins. All right, dude, come on. You've been waiting for 20 minutes. You had plenty of time to decide who you wanted. Keenan Allen. All right. Cortland Sutton. Now we get to wait a while. So in the meantime, we'll take a look at our team. So we have two running backs. Solid. Barkley, Mixon, assuming no injuries. Cortland Sutton. Jared Allen. So we're looking at flex. Tight end, if the people start picking tight ends, is anybody available? We can always go that route. Definitely like the idea of possibly getting a T. Higgins. I doubt he'll hang that long. Kyle Pitts would be a great pick, a tight end still. There's no way he's making it back that far. Okay, we'll just go back to the players here and re-rank everybody. Actually, we'll go receivers, see who's best available. I like just going by rankings. You can see the numbers. So from this perspective here, I have a Cortland Sutton. So anybody in this era, you're talking from like 180 points to 200, they're all going to be about the same. You know, Scary Terry over here, 191 is really no difference than Thielen. Thielen's got a passing coach now, so that might make things a lot better. So he may succeed more. Terry's got a quarterback better than what he's had. So I'm kind of a big fan of Mike Williams. He's underperformed, been hurt a while, but he's a quality player, and definitely he's a red zone threat because of his height and his jumping ability. So we'll look at receiver. Definitely let's get Allen Robinson, now that he's over there at the Rams. Judy, of course. Terry. Christian Kirk. He may have a big year. He's going to be the guy over there in Jacksonville. And with the new coach and ETN coming back, that'll be huge for Kirk. Go back and check out these running back situations. Okay, J.K. Dobbins looked good in practice the other day, so he's looking healthy after the injury last year. I'm definitely highlighting ETN. I think he's going to be a pretty special player, pairing up with his college quarterback, so that'll make a lot of difference. Trust factor there. But we're going to get kind of guys that I favor over maybe the most points. Chase Edmonds down there in Miami. JK for sure. I'm not a big fan of Penny being healthy, so that might not be a best bet there. Let's look at some tight ends by the time we get there. Kittle, of course, TJ. Zach over Arizona. Knox, double up on them points since it got me the quarterback. Put some up there. And flex. All right. So let's see what the board shakes out. Again, we need a tight end, a receiver, and a flex player. If you're looking for the most points, obviously the flex player is going to be a running back because they score more. You can see that there's running backs are the top three flex players available based on projected stats this year. If you went by stats from last year and resynced them, they're still going to be running backs. So there's obviously easier to score points as a running back, especially if you're the featured back. Just not sure Gibson's going to be the main guy over there the whole time. They've told Debo that he's probably not going to be running, so Mitchell should be the main guy. Makes sense. So let's see, 5 picks till my turn. 1 receiver. 5 receivers left. I could get a Thielen for sure. Mari Cooper, there's no receivers over there, so there's no love for what they're going to do. He'll be double teamed the entire season. Jalen Waddle down there in Miami, pairing up with his college quarterback. Another one. He's going to be way down here for a Yahoo league, but Michael Thomas, if he comes back from injury, that guy's had a handful of great years. Just who knows about right here he is. Just who knows how the injury is going to be. If he's healthy, he's got a quarterback that throws. That's going to be tough. So I can see Thomas actually having a great season. Health is the main key. Let's go back to my flex, though. Let's see who my best available players are. We are looking at week 9. See, there's the big thing there. If I go with Elijah Mitchell, I'd have 3 players out of 5 on week 9. So we're going to have to bypass that, even though he's really the best player up there. Or we just sacrifice a week. All right, tight ends. Let's double check this tight end scenario. Kittle would have been the one I wanted. Waller, let's see. I get the double pick here, basically. So, receivers, who do we got? I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy. Oh, that's another week 9. Oh, my gosh. It's going to be a rough year for fantasy. Let's go Thielen then. Draft Thielen. So now we're either tight end or flex. So that's really, basically, I love getting the starting lineup right off the bat. So we'll look at flex. So he took the tight end. Let's go with running backs. Again, flipping a coin here. Week 7's got 2. Week 9's got 2. Week 10 would have 2. That's a lot of struggling going on there. So let's take a look at that tight end situation. I think we got some time left on that. There's really not a lot of points there. Difference in. So let's go back to running backs and we'll get Mitchell. We'll just be struggling week 9. So, all right. So there's a very big key when you're actually looking at fantasy. The bye weeks are important. So I'm short a receiver and a quarterback in week 7. I am short 3 players, a receiver, a running back, and a flex on week 9. Any of the tight ends I want left, they better not be on bye week 9 or 7. So that's going to limit options. So when we come back, Dallas Goedert, that'd be 3 people in week 9. That's trouble. Dawson Knox, obviously that's paired with my quarterback, so that'd be another one. So from the point perspective, TJ's really the highest ranking guy that really fits better into my schedule. Otherwise, I go with a Zach Ertz. Now, he produced like the second most points of tight ends after the trade to Arizona last year. So he's definitely a fan favorite of Kyler. You definitely trust throwing him the ball. Little out routes where Kyler's rolling out to his right. Zach's open almost every play. There's not too many linebackers that can guard his stature. So let's see where we're at. still getting some really solid AJ Dillon running backs here in late rounds. 2, 4, 6 round. That's pretty impressive. I like Jerry Judy up there too, but that's a lot of players on the same team and a lot of players on the same bye week. Just makes things. Oh, Bateman. Yeah, he's supposed to have a great year. Not really paying attention to him, but let's restart these receivers and kind of see. Amari Cooper for sure. Michael Thomas. Goodwin's a little hurt. Supposed to be ready week 1. Marquise Brown's going to be the new guy out there in Arizona. Hunter Renfro had a good solid year. DK. They're going to get no respect out of, Lockett and DK. A lot of people, physique over here, DK wins for sure, but stat wise, year after year, Tyler's been a little bit better than DK, and he's even missed some time. Tyler's 200 points, 206. It's always right there. Underrated player, Tyler Lockett, probably one of the best deep threats, but you don't have a quarterback now, so that's not going to be great. Sky Moore, there's another pick that, somebody will pick him up by the end of the either draft and or after he does great in like week 1 or 2. They'll pick him up, but he's really not going to be drafted after all these receivers here. Most people tend to just draft on rank, projected. It's hard to project a guy that's had over 100 catches and 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, but hurt 2 seasons in a row. But there's a lot of analytics that goes into sports these days. If healthy, given the players that are on that team, Michael Thomas will probably have these stats or exceed them, assuming he's on the field at least 15, 16 games. A lot of people like to sort by touchdowns because that's the quickest way to get points. I tend to go by projected fantasy points. I follow that kind of motto because, again, the analytics behind these stats is unless they get hurt or unless their quarterback gets hurt, or let's say in the case of Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson gets hurt, then Thielen becomes a double team guy where the third guy is not as good as Jefferson, obviously, and the coverage rolls to Adam Thielen. Typically he's not the type of player that's just going to go beat players 2-on-1. Safety help over the top, underneath help linebacker, stats will go down. Kirk Cousins will be dumb enough to try to force it, but that's just one thing that's really, it's out of your control. Your player doesn't get hurt, but an opposing player on your team gets hurt. Maybe not in your fantasy team, but on that same team as your player is what I'm talking about. And that definitely affects your gameplay. So we're coming up a couple picks in. I'm going to go with tight end here, get him out of the way, then start stacking another running back or running back that's not week 9 by week. So we'll get Zach Ertz here unless he goes on the next 1 or 2. If not, Gesicki or Dawson Knox. Might as well get Knox, just have 2 bad weeks in a row and just kill everybody the rest of the weeks. And by week 7 and 9, we'll just deal with it when we get there. So preferred pick, Zach Ertz. Backup pick, Dawson. All right, we'll go calf injury. Yeah, that guy's older too and prone to injury. Oh, yeah, we'll just go. Yeah. Knox it is. We'll be suffering 7-9. We'll figure it out. All right, definitely we are going to look at running backs available. Oh, Chase Edmonds, week 11. Okay, we got Chase Edmonds as a running back and a receiver. Who's on the options here? Got a few guys I'm liking there, so let's get Chase Edmonds. That'll give me 4 running backs. Yeah, we'll do that. Chase Edmonds, definitely now, based on how we picked, we are looking at receiver coming back. So we'll go down here, and our bye week is 11, so that's good. We can put Edmonds up here in week 9, cover that one. We still need a flex player that's a receiver that is not week 7 bye week, and we can kind of cover most of that right off the bat. So receiver that's not by week 7, which it doesn't look like there's anybody really until Isaiah McKenzie. I'm not drafting him anyway. But somebody's got to get some passes over there for Aaron Rodgers. Is it going to be Lazard? Yeah, consensus is that's going to be the guy. Julio, there's another if question. What's he going to do with Tom Brady? Julio down there. I'm going to put him on the board because definitely talent-wise he's there, but I don't know what he's got left in the tank. But Evan's going to draw the traffic. Julio could be some one-on-one deep threat still. He's just never been a touchdown guy. He'd get you the 100 yards, but never going to get you too many touchdowns. So you're getting Russell Wilson, the 75th pick. That's not bad at all. But see, here's what you're talking about. You're talking about the 7th-ranked quarterback is still available 7 rounds in of Brady. Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs. You know, once you get to that point, you're talking a 20-point spread, give or take, from the top 6 guys left. You know, and 2 of them are fan favorites. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, obviously Dak's favored by all them Cowboy fans. A guy that has 2 top 15 receivers and Thielen and Jefferson but gets no respect because it doesn't take any chances. But Kirk Cousins, I hope he throws the ball better this year. You know, take some chances. Win a few games. Take the pressure off your defense by scoring 30. All right, receiver time. Well, if I make it, Amari Cooper, that's another week 9, though. That'd be 4 guys on bye week 9. That's a hell of a pick still back here in the 8th round. It'd be end of the 9th round by the time I get to come up. So Amari Cooper going to the 9th round. From a perspective of points, telling me that Michael Thomas is better than Amari Cooper, and he's the only receiver left on his team, and this guy hasn't played in 2 years. And they're both expected to get 6 touchdowns. A few extra yards per game for Thomas. Gotta love how the theory goes. Don't argue with the theory because these guys are always right. So much betting money on the line for fantasy that, barring injury, those people that draft the best, they win. If you got a nice balanced draft and injuries are not part of the game, strategy in the draft is what's going to win it. All right, so you got people that are showing you where they're at as far as more than enough players, needs players to improve, and so on. kicker defense. Hey, somebody's gonna go. It's always those guys taking kickers and stuff. Justin Tucker, yeah, always the first kicker taken. Team defense is always taken. Let's look at them. So look at the kickers. You're talking 10 people down, 140 points to 160, 20 points difference. So a point a game. Not a big chunk of change to really focus on there. Defensive wise, wow, 120 to 105 over here. 10 defenses in, 1 point a game. If you're going to lose by 1 point a game by picking one of these guys in the 10th round, you didn't do your job in the first 8 rounds or so. So there's no real clear-cut defense that you know for sure is going to do something. If you do pick a defense, pick them based on sacks. Those are guaranteed points, you know. These people are going to be in the higher 40s. They definitely have that. Interceptions is more flukish, and definitely touchdowns off of those is a lot harder. So let's get back to receivers. Cortland Sutton, Thielen, running back Chase Edmonds. So we need to get some receiver here. Who do we like? I really like Cooper, but the guy took Thomas right before me. That's what I wanted. I really wanted Michael Thomas. Again, there's a DeAndre Hopkins that'll put up points per game later on, but it have the suspension for the beginning. All right, so since points don't matter really as far as the difference of who's the top people left, I'm going to go with probably the best available guy and the only receiver on his team. So I'll take Amari Cooper. And then because we're coming around a more wraparound scenario, what do we want to do here? I'll tell you who I think is going to have a huge season. It's Chris Olave. I'll highlight him here, but let's check this. Defense is out. Running backs. Who's available still? Nobody I need or I like. Receivers again. Kristen Kirk. I'm going to go St. Brown. Just going to get me an extra guy that's not a bye week over here at 9. So I'll get St. Brown now. We'll come back and look at my kicker and my defense coming up a little later here. The next 2 rounds, see what's available. Obviously, we got, 3 more bench players and Phil, a kicker and a defense. So you'll start seeing kickers and defenses taken, probably 3 or 4 of each before I get to pick again. Somebody doesn't have a quarterback, might take Aaron Rodgers up there. That's not a bad choice either. Definitely not a bad choice of getting a second quarterback, especially one of that caliber. You know, some receiver over there in Green Bay is going to stand out, whether it's Lazard, rookie, Watson. There's definitely going to be somebody, Sammy Watkins coming over. Somebody's going to be wide open. But I think Christian Watson has the ability to be one of the chance for him to stand out. You know, you rookie receiver coming into a 2-time MVP back-to-back. You know, all you got to do is run your routes. That ball will be there. You can ask Devontae Adams. Every time you turn around, the ball's right where it needs to be. So if you run where you're supposed to, that ball will get there. Oh, let's see. Long ways to go. This guy's going to get auto-picked. This is what happens in Yahoo leagues is once you get your guys, and a lot of them just start turning around and auto-picking, letting your time run down. But here's your defense. Frisco's gone. Let's double check. Team defenses. Oh, it's going to be Micah Parsons. There's always Baltimore gets sacks for days. Denver. Rams. Chargers. Put a couple of these up here. And then when we get to kickers, who do I have a favorite of? Who's going to kick points? Cincinnati, yeah, they're going to have points for sure, so that's a lot of chances. Yeah. McPherson. He's got the attitude for a kicker. He's confident. But if you're liking the video, you're watching the video live, go ahead and do some subscribe up there for us so we can get some more people. Yeah, Mitchell, I agree with the chat, though. Cam Akers and Elijah Mitchell are definitely injury prone. There's no doubt about that. You're not wrong there. From injury, Dalvin Cooks, a lot of people say he's injury prone, but he's only missed a few games in his career so far. Ezekiel is another guy. He's got the money and the contract, and just people expected more from him, but he's got competition over there. Tony Pollard is no joke, so they may lack of receivers. I know I heard a lot of rumors about putting him in the slot, Pollard, so you can get the ball to him a little more out in space. It's not a bad idea. But this is the part of a fantasy draft that just gets boring. After your first 6-8 rounds, you know who you got. You've either won or lost by the guys that I picked up front. I'm not going to lose a season because of a kicker or a defense, unless I pick a defense and they all absolutely do horrible. They're just going to get dropped and replaced by any one of these other guys. So that's not a big problem there. Same thing with the kicker. There's only 10 people in the league, so there's 10 other kickers sitting there that are going to be on starting teams because nobody's going to carry 2 kickers. Nobody's carrying 2 defenses until they get to their bye weeks. So this next big thing is, okay, we need a kicker, we need a defense. We'll take the best available at the time. And then we'll fill those final 3 bench players. If there's a decent tight end, I may carry 2 as long as he's not on bye week 7. And then probably 1 receiver, 1 running back. There's always going to be a 1,000-yard receiver that nobody's going to see here, probably 2 or 3 of them that come out of the woodwork and end up getting 1,000 yards and 6-7 touchdowns. Well, there goes McPherson, so we're going to have to go to plan B on the kicker. Carlson's probably going to get a lot of opportunities. So Carlson looks like a pick I like. We'll do that. And then we'll do team defense. I'll take Dallas or Baltimore, either one. I don't really care about bye weeks for kickers or for defensive teams because, the team you pick, you're going to probably play them every game except for their bye week. Same thing with your kicker. Unless you had to waive your kicker and they were having a great year, you're not going to get him back off the waiver, but that's not for these types of leagues. Usually pretty much keep your kicker, waive him if you want to. You get him back next week. Unless it was maybe a Justin Tucker, somebody that's guaranteed, like 70, 80% on 50-yard field goals, and you may not get him back. So let's come in here with Dallas. I'm going to go with Michael Parsons having a huge year, and hopefully they get me a few touchdowns. We'll go Parsons, and then we'll come back with kicker. Oops. Flex kickers. We'll go Daniel Carlson, so we'll get him for sure. Just highlight him now because there's no chance this guy's going to do that. And right when I say it, there goes my kicker picked. It's happened so many times. The player I want gets picked, the pick I wanted. Michael Thomas already happened. Coming down the other way 3 rounds ago. Now watch me lose my kicker, who I don't even care about. Doesn't really mean anything, but he's a week 6, so less guys on bye week to worry about. All right, kicker done. All right, draft bench players. So we can just go live on the flex tab for the rest of this. So this is purely about guessing. Somebody's got to catch balls over there for Kansas City. Rookie guy has a chance. And we have Valdez Scantling. They paid him good money to go over there. So, again, got balls, the opportunity. Let's see, from a top end perspective, if Saquon's healthy, then Tony has a much opportunity, a lot better chance to be able to actually score some points, but that speed's going to have to be put to use. That's the only reason they drafted him, as far as running ability and his speed. And if you can't get the ball down the field, Tony's not the greatest of options to have. He's not a good route runner. Got a new quarterback coming in at Pittsburgh, so that's interesting. I'd like to see how that's going to pan out and who's going to get the nod starting. Claypool's obviously going to be a key factor of that. Who down here do we see that's like a sleeper? Pittsburgh tight end. Yeah. Pat's definitely somebody that if you needed a tight end. Quarterback's best friend, a tight end that can catch a ball. Julio. That's a get a Julio sighting. I'll take him. Let me get a star player. That's got 11,000 yards under his belt, and he's got the Tom Brady goat throwing him the ball. Yeah, for sure. I can see Julio having a decent season. Plugging in for bye weeks. You can't go wrong there. Tunyon, there's a tight end for you. If Aaron Rodgers talking about this last week of the game, first preseason game, obviously none of his star receivers played, and he didn't play, but talking about players dropping the ball. Well, those guys won't be on the roster, most of them anyway. But Tunyon, escape goat for him. That guy's going to be open. He loves him. So there's going to be a very quick friendship developed between the first person that Aaron Rodgers trusts as a receiver, and the rest of it's going to be Tunyon. Otherwise, they're going to be running the ball with a lot of screen plays and dump off passes, wheel routes, and Jones will have a big receiving year. All right, so we got a Raiders kicker and a Cowboys defense. Boy, if that isn't really mixing up the teams. I only got one player from my team, so there's a key there too. Being a Vikings fan again, picking one player from my team, and it's the worst of the 3 that I'd be drafting. Thielen, Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook would be the 3 choices, and we didn't get that, so we'll have to live with it. What about these quarterbacks? So, is there somebody still available? Davis Mills. Yeah. There's no point in picking up Davis Mills because he's never going to play except for week 7, I believe. Yeah, when Allen's gone. So we'll just go pick up like whoever's going to be starting. Kenny Pickett might be starting by there, so he'll be plugged in week 7 for me in a bye week scenario. Gino, if he's still playing around, or they're going to finally just pan off to a rookie over there. Trubisky. Yeah, he's had a short end of the stick over there in Chicago. He's better than what he's proven on the field, but just didn't get a real opportunity. Not a lot of help around him, and then when he did have help, he just didn't get it done. But come on, guys, pick faster. I got 3 picks, and I don't even really care who I get because it's not going to matter. At the end of the day, it's going to say I have an A- rating from Yahoo after about 10 or 15 minutes, or a B+. These bye weeks are going to hurt me because they're going to factor in all those points. So that's going to hurt. So I might have a B- rating just because I didn't get quality guys that were opposite bye weeks. But Yahoo has a rating system, and basically what that does is it's going to take everybody in your roster that you have and turn around and plug the various guys in when you all have bye weeks. So I'm going to get no points for if I don't have a second quarterback. That's kills your rating, but we all know why we don't want to have 2 quarterbacks. But Jameis Winston, we might throw him in there. Or he might be favored against Atlanta team that doesn't maybe have the greatest of defenses. And from a perspective of projected points, may have a game or 2 where he's expected to score more than Allen. So it might help the overall rating, which really doesn't amount to anything. But we'll throw him up there. He's a starting quarterback. We'll throw Mac Jones up there because he's not week 10. I don't trust Justin Fields yet, but he's a good athlete. So back to my flex here. Not sure what I like in this scenario at all, but Galladay week 9 doesn't make any sense when I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on week 9 already. One's a defense, but yeah, so 9's not going to cut it. 7's not going to cut it, so at this point, we might as well pick that extra quarterback. All right. We'll take him. Don't really care, but really going for more of a rating. So receivers, Galladay again doesn't help week 7, week 9. These are my bye weeks. So we're talking 145 points if I take a receiver. If I take a running back, who could break out here? Not that I really. He's not the greatest of players from a whole perspective. He's past his career on that, but just in case there's a suspension down there for Kamara, I'm going to take Mark Ingram, because if there's a suspension, that's probably going to be a 6 game, maybe appealed to a 4. So I want to have a guy that I know is going to get the ball, so he'll have Kamara stats during those times that he'll be taking his spot. So I'm going to pick a guy like that. And then I don't really give a crap who comes back next. We're going to just sit and wait all the way through, flex it back up, and definitely as long as it's not a week 9 or a week 7 bye week, we're going to finish up our team here. And then it usually takes Yahoo 10, 15 minutes to put up a actual rating. We're not going to stick around for that because you guys don't care what the rating is, and all it is ego for now, but probably not really doing anything for you in the long term of being a winning fantasy team. But again, the biggest aspect or takeaway from fantasy draft is where you pick in the rounds. If you truly want to win, your first probably 3 to 4 picks this year should be a running back. When you start getting to maybe fourth pick, fifth, then you can do like exactly what happened here. Start looking at those top 2 or 3 receivers. If you're going to be a number 1 draft pick or number 2 or number 3 and you take Justin Jefferson, you better really hope and pray you get 2 really good running backs coming back in round 2 and 3. Because you know that somebody's going to have a running back that's going to score probably 50 points more than Jefferson. So you're trailing almost the entire first half of the draft of the first round. Because the running back's just going to score more. And those 3 down running backs are getting more slim and slim. It's like going 7 or 8 innings in baseball pitching. Just they don't happen very often anymore. So those 3 down running backs, guys that can catch passes, guys that can run the ball, guys that can definitely pick up blitz on 3rd down, they're still in there. And the career is now just not long enough for running backs. So getting one is very crucial. There's rarely a draft that I get in the first 5 or 6 picks that I'm going to take a receiver. But knowing how it's becoming more of a passing game, Jamar Chase, obviously Cooper Kupp stats last year was outstanding. Approaching Jerry Rice's single season numbers there for 2,000 yards, and pile of touchdowns, targets, receptions. Definitely worth mentioning having, say, picks 6, 7, 8 as being receivers. But overall draft, this should be a top 3 finish. Obviously, Allen's a key. If he went down, say, week 1, week 2, week 3, that's hard to pick up those stats that he's projected to score. But, really, and at that point, any of my other players, because they're so close, there's no difference between Mixon and Barkley if they're both healthy. Again, as noted in the comments here, Elijah Mitchell, he's definitely injury prone, but if he's healthy, he's just as good as most other running backs. Not top tier number 1 pick, but he's a top 10, top 15 running back, and if that's my flex, I'll take it. Top 20 for sure. Got Chase Edmonds down there, so coming over to a new team, he'll be the favorite to help out Tua. So, okay, final pick. I wasn't even really paying attention. Wow. What do we want to do? I guess most points. Week 9, lots of week 9s. Don't care. What about tight ends? Do I care about a tight end? No, I don't care about a tight end either. So back to this flex over here. Valdez Scantling. Well, Kansas City. Take a shot. All right. So as soon as this guy picks, he's been picking pretty quick. So definitely enjoyed the ones that listened to it live. We'll get it recorded and posted up shortly. And hopefully this gives you an idea of how to actually go through a draft, the buttons to click, how to get one created, and a little bit of insight as to how you can build a winning team from the 9th position. So not the most ideal. It's really one of the worst positions to, you don't get the wraparound. You don't get the tier 1 receiver. You don't get the tier 1 running back. The only really thing you can get tier 1 is maybe the tight end, which we could have had, or quarterback. But this draft didn't pan out to go quarterback early. So from a perspective of getting a top quarterback, we did. The rest of it is all the number 4th or 5th running back, 6th running back, 5th or 6th receiver, 8th receiver. So definitely could have been a better draft based on position. It's not bad. It's going to be worse. But, we're going to have an uphill battle. I'm kind of projecting me to be a 3rd place finish. So if you want to follow again at the end of the season, Evil Hooded One, we'll post up all of our teams. We usually do about 15 teams in Yahoo. But thank you guys for listening, and best of luck to you in your upcoming fantasy. We'll build some more videos before the season starts for drafting for, say, first 4 positions, then the next 3 or 4 positions, and then the final 8, 9, 10 and wraparound picks. So we'll give you an idea of how the drafts are shaking up. We'll load up the Yahoo draft kit and show you what everybody else is doing, where their average picks are. So the next time we'll pull up the draft kit and we'll go from there. But again, thanks everybody for listening, and enjoy your fantasy football.